Laverne has work to do. Life is how you handle it, not how it handles you. Life is not going to be perfect. Not everybody's going to like you. Things aren't going to always go the way you want. But how you handle it when it comes to you determines who you are, the grit, the essence of who you are. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is LolaAjisafe here. We're now reviewing Ready to Love. We had a week break. Yeah, y'all missed y'all. Hoping for an episode. But anyway, so this is season... Yeah, I'm never going to go over 5 or 6. Like they come, we know it's 6, they say it's 5, but we know what we're saying. But anyway, what we're sure on is it's episode 7, and it's called The X-Files. Before we jump into the episode, housekeeping rules, please don't forget to like the video, thumbs up. I appreciate what everyone's done so far. Thank you very much. More importantly, drop a line. Tell me what you think, how you feel about what's going on, what I haven't said, what you think. We always kind of meet up in the comments, and I don't miss a comment. I always like to go back and, well, not necessarily go back and forth, but discuss sometimes, listen, whatever it is, we have a conversation. And then last of all, if you haven't subscribed, stop checking out with me and hit the subscribe button. Anyway, let's go into it. So what's going on? We were left on this cliffhanger for 2 weeks. Yo, they left us hanging for 2 weeks. All right, so what they're saying, something happened between Dakia and Eric. So we kind of start, so the scene does open at the ladies' wine bar, the ladies' lounge, whatever you want to call it, and Dakia's talking to Uncle Nephew Tommy, and she says that once again there was a meeting outside and the cameras rolling. This never ends well, and it's something about they were meant to take a picture, or they were posing for a picture, and how he now ensued into taking that picture she didn't particularly like. There's so many holes in it, and I suppose to protect both parties, but probably to protect Eric more, the context and the details have been edited out. So we're looking like, what happened? Like, to me, when something doesn't make sense, it means we don't have all the information. We don't have all the information. Like, something happened, something he did. I don't know how he embraced her, he threw over his back. Something happened that really, she felt he crossed boundaries enough to a point where she was done with him, and pretty much he was probably her number one. He was her strongest connection, so he did something strong enough for her to say it's not worth it. She's staying on the show, but she's like, I want him out. Now, as you know, Dakia is recounting this, our good sis coming here, still giving her the mean eye, mugging, like, I don't know. Like, of course, producer's a little shady, the camera's a little shady, because it may not have been the same time that she was recounting the story that maybe Carmen had that expression, which lacked empathy and just kind of looked bored and almost like irritated. It may not have been the same time. So almost, I think what they do sometimes with reality shows, they set, like, you know, roles. So by all intents and purposes, they're trying to paint Carmen up as a villain. That's what I'm seeing, because yeah, I don't know. We don't know how accurate it is, if that's exactly how Carmen was looking at the exact same time that Dakia was recounting her story with Eric. So I'd love to, you know, behind the scenes find out, okay, did that really happen? Was that? So now I'm beginning to, now that we've been, you know, we're a few seasons in, we can see, and we know about reality shows, how they can make editing. They can't make you do what you didn't do, but if they smash and put pieces together, they can definitely skew a narrative in a different direction. So I don't really know if Carmen really mean mugging at her, or just mean mugging at some other comment that was now slashed and sliced and put into right after she made her comments. But we'll see. But anyway, so now she discusses what transpired between her and Eric. He's like, okay, I'm going to sit down with Eric, but let's go on. He gives them their assignment for the week. Assignment for the week is what they do every season. You meet the exes. Let's see how this goes. So first ex get together is Joy, Laverne, and Clifton. Joy brings in her ex, who is Sean. Nice guy. I think not just a nice guy, but insightful. Like, insightful guy. You know, they say when people date after a while, for a long time, they begin to look like siblings. It looks, not just because they have a similar shade, but somehow it looked like Joy and her ex Sean favor each other somehow. I don't know how, but it just looked like there's some kind of similarity. But I do like that he was insightful and just kind of looking, like, just observing and paying attention, and was quite vocal. So the first person that comes in, of course, is Laverne. Laverne's, you know, he's on right now, and so we have discussed that Laverne has a tendency to be on, and sometimes he's off. and no one's home. But today he's on because, you know, Joy is his number one interest at this point. So he's on for the cameras. He's really cracking jokes. He's like, yeah, da. And of course, Sean's just kind of observing. Little while later, Clifton comes in. And Clifton does start off, he seems a little heavier in this episode because it's to do with the exes, and from back talk we haven't been privy to. Joy said she did expect him to be a little different about this based on his past experiences. She did say in her confessional that she didn't think that he was really going to be on or cool for the ex situation. So we don't quite know. We just know he has 2 marriages under his belt, or 2 divorces under his belt. And so the ex thing would not rub well with him. So she called it, and it's exactly. So yeah, there's a comment that Clifton make that I kind of like. Here it is.
I don't feel like doing this. He's not going to be able to tell me anything that I'm going to need as far as moving forward with Joy, other than how he already failed.
Summarize, talk about, yeah, there's nothing this ex can tell me that's going to help me, that I need in moving forward. Like, that's the kind. Now, the key, you remember when we talked about BD engine? That's BD engine, and you can say that's going to make me, and I think that should be, not that you shouldn't listen, but that should be the energy when you're meeting an ex, because the person's an ex for a reason. And not to say exes can't be cool, but still, at the end of the day, you can collect data, but you yourself must process the data. Don't allow someone else's processing skills to skew your processing or to skew your decision based on your processing. So I like that energy out of that. That's coming from that part. I want to run with that, because you can have lots of well wishers. There's this thing that TD Jakes says in one of his books I read, where he gave this analogy, and I think I've used it before, but here goes. I'm going to just kind of summarize it. Pretty much like people's perceptions and people's views and opinions are similar to, you know, you being in a forest and you are the giraffe, and then you have a turtle on the ground. So the view of the giraffe is going to be completely different than the view of the turtle on the ground, because the giraffe is what, let's say 50 feet long or more. Let's say 50 feet, and the turtle's right down the ground. So what you're going to see from an aerial view is definitely very different from what you're going to see from a ground view looking up. So that's the take-home point for me that I like that I want to emphasize, and the reason why I put this clip in there, that, you know, all well wishes and goodwill and everyone wishing you well and giving you good advice and safe advice is all good and well, but at the end of the day, don't let it skew your processing or skew how you make a decision. Ultimately, whatever decision you make is the decision you're going to live with, because sometimes people can't, you know, we can't see everything. Yes, good advice is good advice, and it's great to have it, but still, that's why we work on ourselves. That's why we do the work, because ultimately you want to make that decision from a place of health, aka you've healed, you've solved the issues. You're not making a decision or processing, you know, a thought in a place of where you've been hurt, there's trauma. So that's why the whole point of you working on yourself. Yeah, you can have a great therapist, you can have great friends, you can have great advisors, but if you yourself don't have the good processing skills, you're ultimately going to be making decisions for other people, and you are your best advocate for yourself. So, you know, going in further, you know, I like Sean challenged Clifton a little bit. He's like, you know, when they started talking, he's talking about, you know, you being a little bit jealous, or this
come from a place of a friend.
For me, it's from past experiences with exes. That shoulder to cry on later could also become a to lay on. So,
but I feel like it's really important for you to not bring past baggage into new things.
No, that's
and
fine.
I feel like you're holding her to a standard of somebody who hurt you in the past.
I mean, everybody has a past. Everybody has history, right?
You got to do work to make sure you don't bring
Absolutely,
it in, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, I know black men are afraid of therapy.
No. So I went to therapy. I
Good.
ruined my marriage based on past experiences.
Okay.
I still go, actually.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sounds like you've made some progress.
Absolutely.
So Sean challenged him, and I like that. Not in an aggressive way, but just in a, like, I want to challenge how you think. I want to see where you're coming from. Who are you really? And I like that. Like, and it did bring out more in Clifton work. And I also like that Clifton was, you know, honest and I don't want to use transparent. It wasn't necessarily transparent, but he was honest. He wasn't scared to show exactly how he felt, his misgivings and concerns as to the connection. This is how I feel. And so that opened up an honest conversation, an honest dialogue, and an honest exchange where he could see where it was coming from. It's like, okay, I see you. Then they started talking about, you know, therapy, that, you know, and he did confess, he said since his last marriage he's been in therapy. So I think at the end of that date, you know, Sean sits down with Joy and is like, you know, Laverne's a fun guy and everything, but it was all very superficial. I didn't really get a good sense for him. But even though Clifton came in with an energy, he came with a little bit of attitude, I still got a real sense for him, and he's real, and I feel that he would be a better fit for you. Although, you know, he's honest with where he is, he's honest with the problems he's had and how he's processing those problems. But at the same time, take note that Clifton could be a risk. But I dare to say this, and I'm sure that's what Joy was thinking. We're going to just assume that's what Joy was thinking. What is life without risk? A lot of business people, you know, no, let me put it like this. A lot of successful people will tell you that some of the best decisions they made had very high risk. So, you know, as the risk comes up, so does the benefit. Not to say you just, you know, get on a roof and you jump off climb up a roof and then jump, because that's high risk, but what's the benefit? Like nothing. So I'm not just saying take a risk, but it's a calculated risk, but a risk all the same. A lot of decisions we make where we get big payoff involves a certain amount of calculated risk. But I use the term calculated because to a certain point you are looking at the benefit, cost, and what it's going to, you know, what it's going to cost you and what the benefit is. Benefit cost analysis, and not just business but just in life. Like, if I do this, what is it going to cost me? What's it worth to me? A lot of times we make decisions, at least where I work, you know, benefit versus risk. If the benefit outweighs the risk, I'm going to go for the benefit. There is a point of a risk, but that's been confirmed that, yeah, Clifton is the guy. I'm confirming that, yo, what is life without risk? So Sean, yeah, he is a risk, but then who wants to be the safe option? Well, how many seasons ago? I don't want to bring up all names. When AJ was saying that Alex's, you know, Fly Jones, Alex's was the safe option. So at this point here, we have Eric sitting down with nephew Tommy, and still we don't really get real insight as to what really transpired. We just see that, you know, Eric is contrite, he's apologetic, he's copying to, yes, I didn't behave correctly, and that behavior signifies to me that I'm not ready for this process, and then he self-eliminates. Okay, very well. I can't lie and say that I was shocked, because the fact that we really didn't see this, what transpired exactly, leaves us with a huge gap. But, you know, the show must go on, so they get the clips together and they've thrown it at us. But we as the viewers, okay, the question here is, what really transpired? We don't know. You know, I'm not even going to speculate unless something comes out, you know, stuff comes out in the blogs. I know the cast members have been doing a lot of lives, but the question is here, what transpired? But more importantly, how bad was it that it completely turned Dekia off, one, and then two, had Eric saying, I'm going to self-eliminate. Now, on one hand, it definitely could be Eric saying, you know what, what I've done, the energy that I've created, I don't want to continue in that vein, so I'm self-eliminating. But another part of me says that production, in an attempt not to have a repeat of what happened last season, in terms of the console jibber jabber talking that happened last season with Shiloh and Phil, they're like, bruh, you need to leave now. Because what they don't need is, you know, a certain type of repetition or to sully the character of their show by this happening 2 seasons back to back in a row. So a part of me, like more of me, feels that was the reason. I really feel that production decided to, they very politely suggested, they gave a very polite suggestion that he should leave, and so he went with, but they gave him the grace to say that, oh, I self-eliminated, so at least save. I feel like production said, bruh, this occurred, thanks, your time on the show is up, so we're going to give you this, we're going to help you save face, you say that you're self-eliminating. That's my 2 cents. I think he's, you know, I don't think he's self-eliminated. I don't think that suggestion came from his own number 6. It didn't come from his number 6. He was told to step. All right, next couple, we have Carmen, who comes with her ex Marcus, and the 2 guys who are meeting up with her ex are Paul and Donovan. First of all, they walk like, Marcus, he nice, distinguished looking. I mean, he's got gray hair, doesn't necessarily, but I feel there's a way he carried himself that he definitely appears to be an older gentleman. And when I say older, I'm not, you know, he could be anything from mid-40s to maybe 60, I don't know, but he definitely carries well. You know, put his little drip together. He was looking nice. And to a point where he had great manners, great carriage, and to a point where I'm still looking at how Carmen was flirting with him a little bit. This was even before the other guy, so she wasn't flirting for the benefit of, or maybe make my interest jealous. She was flirting with him just then one-on-one. So it's like, there's some unfinished business there. I don't know, like it seemed a little odd to me, because I can't imagine. Yeah, I don't know. Y'all tell me. Yo, you have an ex who, I don't know, I guess don't know how I don't know how far of an ex he is. That's the question here. I don't know how far of an ex he is. Like, at what point with an ex is it comfortable and it's just harmless? At what point with an ex is it just harmless flirting? I don't know. Or maybe people who are flirts just flirt anyway, regardless. I don't know. I just like, flirting. Anyway, so let's kind of go into it. So the first person that comes in, I believe, is Paul. Paul comes in, you know, distinguished. Then Donovan comes in. Paul's a little like, oh damn, I got competition here. He didn't see that coming. And then of course, you know, Marcus is the distinguished, you know, ex. He's like, so what are your intentions? You know, Donovan says something, you know, personable, I guess, like, you know, he's here for love or something like that. I don't remember, but I just, for some reason, I remember what Paul says. Okay, he come up with, you know, Paul is, you know, the old timer. He reminds me of Nene Leak's late husband, who has all these quick, slick sayings. So Paul comes up with, like, you know, she's gonna be a girlfriend, then a fiance, and then my wife forever. Like, dude, I'm not asking for all that, but it's cute. Like, it's just funny. Like, just see how like he you know, just how some of this slick he puts together. I guess that's why he delivers. He delivers corny lines every time. You can guarantee Brian's gonna deliver a corny line. So that's how he delivers. That's why he's PO. That's why he's the post office. So I guess the ex at the end of the day, he's looking at her like, you know, Paul, which is true. Paul appears to him to be a little bit soft. That, you know, is he going to be enough to handle her with all what she brings? And then, you know, that he feels, in his opinion, that Donovan's a better fit. I mean, theoretically, Donovan's a better fit. I don't know if Donovan's trying for her like that. All right, this little part, I don't know why this was interesting for me. So here we have Ace with her ex, Devon, I believe. And Devon's meeting her interests, Laverne and Tori. So first of all, like, you know, Ace has caught my eye from the beginning. You know, initially they said she was a philanthropist. I'm like, is that a job description? Does she come from like an extremely wealthy family? Is, you know, the what's his name, Johnson, who owned, you know, BET before, is that her, those are family members? So all she has to do is, she only has, her work is just doing, you know, charity work and, you know, fundraising. And then later on they put her job description as a yoga teacher or a yogi, whatever they call it. I'm like, okay, does she teach yoga? But I haven't heard her talk. You know how teachers talk about, you know, I just hadn't got that conversation from her talking about yoga. So they seemed, through the season so far, they seem to go back and forth. Some clips they'll put philanthropist, other clips they'll put yoga teacher. What is it? So I say all this to say, it's like, okay, when you throw the whole picture of Ace together, who has this soft, calm, zen, namaste kind of energy, but she can get cracking sometimes. A little part of her that, like, try me if you want to. That's what I get from her. That's the energy. So there is a curiosity to say, okay, so what does her ex look like and what's he like? He didn't disappoint. So my bruh, like, he got locks. Okay, I can see that. Then he got a neck tattoo. Like, when you commit to a neck tattoo, like, you're a G. Like, you're either a rap artist, like, you're not trying to do like a regular smuggler kind of gig, like whatever gig you may call it. Not necessarily, yeah, you're just not, because even if you're an entrepreneur, there's certain kind of businesses where you can't walk around with Inspire on your neck. So he a G, like he's committed to a certain, I'm not sure what he does. I think she said he was a poet. I don't remember, but yeah, like, you do this, like you got the tag, like, right there in front. Like, I see that before I see your face. I didn't know what to expect, but I was like, okay. But I was waiting for more, because for us as women, we look at the package, okay, but what behind that? And he didn't disappoint. Mr. Devon, he looks youngish. So he could be anything from late 20s to mid-late 30s. All those of us with melanin, we definitely can. You can't really put us in an age bracket. So he could be up to late 30s. I don't think 40s, but he could surprise me and he could be in his 40s. But he's a thinking brother. Because even the way he spoke and the way he maneuvered the conversation, I like, that's a G right there. Like, I really appreciated how he went about it, because he kind of broke things down. They talked a little kind of, I think they talked about jealousy a little bit, but what caught my attention most was once, you know, Laverne came in and Tori came in, he kind of sized them up and kind of looked at them. And in the middle of the conversation, I think he turned to Tori's one he turned to, and he's like, you know, how would you maneuver around or deal with or relate with an alpha woman? I'm like, where are you coming with that? Like, why is he coming from that? And then once they got up, and I never really, and that's the thing, we get this nice, that's what I said with Ace, we have this nice soft namaste energy, but there's a little bite behind that. We just haven't seen that, or the editing hasn't shown us that other side, or there haven't been situations for her to do that. Like, she'll do it when she feels like it. But then once the gentleman had left, he turned to her and said, you know, something about, you know, if in the relationship you want, like, these two guys are very different. So depending on what kind of relationship you want, forget about how they look. Like, if you want to lead the way, go with Tori. If you want to be led, go with Laverne. Like, damn, brother deep. Like, like all the other little, he knew her and he broke down and there is a certain male, that's what a male perspective is quite important, which is why you see a lot of these dating coaches and relationship experts who talk to women that are mainly men. Like, they're more well-known male, you know, dating coaches and relationship experts talking to women than there are women talking to women. And I think for the main fact of getting that male perspective, because, you know, we think differently, and so you want to have someone who thinks like them on the other side. That's why when you talk about back in the day when they had the double spy, like, I want you to know how they think. And so here it goes. This particular date gave great insight, I think, both to us as the viewers and particularly to, you know, we talk about being feminine. There's a certain amount of strength that's required to sit back and not want to always have the last word or always talk. And so I knew there was some strength behind it, but I didn't actually see her as an alpha. Like, although, you know, nowadays everyone who thinks it's a compliment likes to say, I'm an alpha and I'm an alpha, I'm an alpha. Yeah, I couldn't tell you what I am. I don't know. I just am what I am. All right, so I believe one of the last X dates was the Sabrina. She had 3 people. Her ex Milton meets up with Demetrius first. You know, Demetrius, you know, smooth talker. He can see how he and Milton might have similar aesthetics. So he's like, okay, he gets it. He can see now, understand, okay, maybe this is why. One of the reasons why Sabrina likes him, was taken by him in the beginning, because she might have a type. I don't know if that's reassuring for him somewhat. So they have a smooth conversation. He's talking, they have a back and forth. He's asking questions. At one point, Milton's like, yeah, bruh, like, there's certain things, decisions, when you are making decisions, make sure you include her. That she likes to be included. So I bring this up to say that Sabrina does appear to be like, oh, just real gentle. You know, she's small, seems gentle, has a light voice, but behind that, it's like, you know, it's like an iron fist in a velvet glove. That's what I'm getting. Cause he giving him code, like, bro, you best not try and do something without checking with her. I feel like that was the warning he was giving, like, bro, I don't know that you all big and bad, huh? Like, you feel you went to the military, like, you all this, but you best not do something and you haven't run it by her yet. See what happened to you, and we're gonna find out and see part of that, what I'm talking about, at the end of the episode. And so later on in the evening, Milton meets up with Tori and Donovan. Now, you know, Donovan's still hurt. Like, he's still acting hurt. Like, he's on the defense. He's still on the defense, very defensive. He's not asking questions. He's like not interested. I'm feeling like, if you feel like that, why you show up? You could have said, I don't mean self-eliminate, but you could have said, I'm no longer interested in you, so don't include me in me meeting up with your exes. But I guess that's why the game aspect of it prevents people from really showing how they feel, because in the game, a game is not about emotions, it's about playing a game. It's about chess. So they're playing chess, but then he's showing up. He don't want to be there, but he's there because he doesn't want to be eliminated. He's still trying to go through to the end. I guess it's paid off for him. So anyway, he shows up, but just to show up. Like, he just showed up to mark presence. He didn't show up to be there. So he didn't show up to make her feel like, this is what you're missing if you don't pick me. he showed up there and is literally sulking like a little boy. So it made him look, once again, my impression of him hasn't been great based on a couple things he's done. So here he just literally kind of confirming that okay, so yeah, I'm here, but I'm not here. It's a little bit childish, but let me keep this train moving. Of course, Donovan comes in with his smooth, suave, he's got great presence, and he's asking real questions, going back and forth, asking about, because I think there's a point where the ex was asking like, who would you pick today? And then if the show ended right now, who would you go home with? So Tori tries to be honest and say, well, they've got some straightening and ironing out, at least they didn't lie. But Donovan, and it was the question was advantageous for Donovan, because truly that's how he's feeling. At the top of his, Sabrina is at the top of his leaderboard. And even, the ex could see how Sabrina was, I keep calling him the ex, Milton. I'm sorry, Milton. Milton could see how Sabrina was reacting to Donovan, because as soon as Donovan came in, her face lit up. So I guess it was an unfair pairing, because Tori was merely just a placeholder, yeah. We use this term all the time. He was just occupying the space until the real interest came along. Like, she wasn't feeling Tori like that, and I don't mean like that in a bad way, but she was entertaining his interest, but she herself was not fully interested or engaged, but she appreciated the attention. And they seemed to, but yeah, once the real interest came along, you can see that. And that's what, so it's like, yeah, we do have, when we use the term placeholder, a lot of times we use it with men using women as placeholders, but women can also do the same. And this wasn't like she kept him as a placeholder for 5-8 years and had kids with him. No, he just happened to be the first one to express his interest, and she entertained his interest, which she rightfully should. It's a dating show. But as soon as other people came along who were really, she was more interested in, and that's fine too. So I'm not sure why, Tori's butt hurts. You win and you lose. You don't hate don't hate the player, hate the game. I'm just saying. So anyway, so I say all this to say that Tori needs to like brush off his shoulders and hold his head up high and be like, why am I giving him tips? Because I'm not really for him, so I'm not giving him any tips. But if you're in that situation and you're a little bit hurt because someone's not into you, it is what it is. Everyone can't like you. Some of the people you like won't like you, and it is what it is. Sit down, do a yoga pose, breathe it out, do some meditation, and keep it moving. Try not to take it personal, or blow it out, and when it passes, let it pass. Let it be what it is. But I would say try and take it less personal, because now everybody's gonna be, you're not everyone's cup of tea. Once you kind of figure that, I guess I'm not their cup of tea, keep it moving. Your cup of tea is ahead, so instead of you crying over the cup of tea that isn't yours, keep your energy right, stay ready. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Stay ready. Your cup of tea will come along the way, and it will mesh. Just like coffee and cream, like a really great Arabian coffee and cream. Woo, that's how it's gonna mix. So yeah. So anyway, you can definitely see that her interest in Donovan is Donovan's at the top of her board. Donovan's definitely at the top of her board. So yeah, even her Milton saw that, yeah, you like Donovan, because even the way she smiled when he came in, and when she gave him the hug, and they're just this like giggly way that we girls get sometimes when we like someone. It was all there. It was all there for us to see. But Donovan was still playing it cool. So yeah. So exit. I'm sorry, Milton, I called you X again. Milton says, he doesn't really see how Tori and his personality fit in with her, and like I said, he was merely just the first person to step forward, so she entertained it. So confirmed. But I would just placeholder. But he can see how the other two might, although Demetrius is a little more serious, Donovan, there's a presence, but there's also an easiness that Demetrius doesn't necessarily have, based on who he is, how he grew, how his life journey, which involved the military, and probably who he is as a person as well. All right, next one is Tina and her ex BJ meeting up with Paul and Demetrius. Of course, Paul comes in first. He notices that the ex, who is BJ, is a little or a lot younger. Maybe there's 10 years between them. They're not giving us the age of the exes, but just based on the guy's energy and his presence. Sometimes you can tell someone's age by how they hold themselves. And so the way the guy is sitting, he looked young. He looked young, because I don't want to use people's face and skin features, because sometimes with us you can't tell. So just based on the way he is, he looks young. So he's like, he comes in, then Demetrius comes in, so they're all kind of confirming and saying that yes, they are ready to love. They've been through this and more. We know Demetrius has had a prior marriage, but he cheated. He's worked on himself. He's done the work, and now that determines that he's ready. And so they now kind of turn the tables, which is part of the purpose of meeting the X2, is to find out about how was this person with you in a relationship then. Now you know what, and that's the part, like, that's the important part of when you're picking someone. You need someone who's going to reveal just enough, not too much, not the time you cut his tires, not the time you slapped someone who was talking to him. That's not the kind of stuff you want to reveal. Like, this person is meant to be on your side. This is meant to be a double spy, but really more loyal to you. But BJ seemed a little bit confused, didn't quite get his assignment today, so he was kind of like, he was a double spy, because he wasn't sure what side he was going for, because he puts on blast and goes in to talk about how one time she broke his phone, she put a hole in his door. I wouldn't say that would scare me, but that would. And I know when he was making reference to that definitely was something that happened a while back, so we can hope she's grown for that. But for me, I don't want to hear about somebody slashing tires, breaking windows, punching someone over affection, because it just makes me think that, okay, if we have a misunderstanding, is that how you're going to react? You're not going to sit down and have a conversation with me, like, even if you can't stand whatever I did, look at me and walk away, walk off and be like, I'm done. You can't sit down and talk to me about it. You want to break stuff, damage stuff. That's you lashing out. That's you having a tantrum. Just doesn't give you much energy. We do have a lot of adults doing that. So I say this to say that, yeah, he probably didn't need to disclose that. Demetrius looking worried, like, snap, like, if I do something crazy, like, she's going to come for me. But then at the end, or towards the end of the date, Paul made a good observation in his confessional. He was like, they had all this conversation, but what he didn't hear, the feedback he didn't hear, was that Tina was ready for love and ready for a serious relationship. I mean, that's to be given. That, I mean, yeah, it's a good observation, but the truth is, for the most part, women are always more ready. Even when a woman is not ready, she tends to come to a relationship better prepared than a man who is ready a lot of the time. And this is just speaking generally. So yeah, it's true, they didn't get down that path. That's true. But I like to say that, maybe he coming up with that because he feeling a little intimidated, because he was right next to Donovan. Because, I have called, Paul, called him a Judas last week. I still feel the same way. But for the most part, he's not everyone's favorite. He really looks like everyone's backup. And even though I called him a Judas, I don't think I would ever assume and look at him and say he's dumb. So I really feel that he knows that too. He's aware that he's a backup. I don't know how else to say it. Like, he's the backup. Because everybody understands by this season 6, everybody understands that you don't roll towards the final with just one contender. At best, you really want to do with 2. Better yet, 3. So Paul understands that. It is what it is. But funny enough, even with all what I'm saying, at the end of the day, the conversation that Tina had with her ex BJ, he actually put Paul ahead of Demetrius. He says Paul seemed a little something, and so his preference for her was Paul. So yeah. So I feel like when we look at Paul's leaderboard, definitely from the time he met Tina, there's certain confidence that he gained that kind of pepped him up. So I do believe for Paul, Tina is his number 1. But them together, yeah, I don't know how that would work. Like, it looks, she's got the right energy, but further down, will she really be? I mean, she definitely certain things she's looking for someone to love her, someone to care for her, someone who's going to provide her. She's got a kid, but depending on what she wants, does Paul have all that to actually be that person she wants to settle down with, who will be the one who will be a second father to a kid? If she's really looking for a provider, he might be that one. I don't know. Let's wait and see. So that's the whole reason why Paul's even in the mix anyway, because to her, he might be a sense of can't just go for practical, because at 3 a.m. you're probably not trying to be practical. And I joke, but I just mean, just when you sit down and you want to vibe with someone, is that practical? Can they meet that? Yes, it's good to be practical, but how many other things can they meet? Nobody can meet 100% of things, but know what's important to you, and they should be able to meet at least the 80-20 rule. Between 60 to 80% of what you want, they should be able to meet, and those must be the important things. Last date was Dekia, for her ex Terrence meeting Clifton. Seemed a little awkward because we already know that Clifton don't like this meeting the ex dates, but what made it double awkward, Clifton, you were like really touching and rubbing on Dekia in front of Terrence. He said behind the scenes that his game was just to see how the ex would react to that PDA, and see if the ex responded. That might mean there's still something between them. It doesn't mean that. It might mean that the ex might still like the person. That might give you some insight, but doesn't mean that she got experience with the ex date, so he comes up with something different called the flirt test. He wished he had done it with Joy, but he didn't. It wouldn't have been. Yeah, I don't think it would have worked like that with Joy, because one, he wasn't the only one there, and then two, like Joy's ex Sean was a little bit different. He had a different type of energy. Everything I feel coming from me, everything to me is a lot. It really has to do with a lot of energy. This invisible flow, this energy that connects us all. And so the energy for that date with Joy, him, and Laverne didn't allow the space for what he's doing here with Terrence. That's just my 2 cents. So yeah, he said he wanted to do it with Joy, but it wouldn't have worked. He wouldn't have, because there's some things there's a certain energy and thing that'll allow you to do something or trigger you to do something. People call it different things. I call it energy, and the energy didn't allow for that. But anyway, so leading into the conclusion, end of the week now, it's ladies wine bar. They're gonna time for elimination. So they start talking. Joy breaks down what happens. We know Joy's thing is Clifton. They go on Ace, Sabrina. For Ace, I see Laverne with Ace. I kind of like that. For Sabrina, we know Sabrina like Donovan. Carmen want Donovan. She ain't gonna get him. So Paul's her backup. Tina, I'm not sure who Tina is really going for. But anyway, so it goes down to who they don't like, who they do like. Somehow Laverne name entered. Well, I shouldn't even say somehow. They've been talking about him not really mixing with people for a while. So a lot of the two lowest numbers were Laverne and Tori going into the elimination dates. Dun 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 dun. So first of all, let's just lead with let me sing my surprise. So Dekia is meeting up with Tori to tell him and meet up with him. I haven't had a date with him yet. I just want to get to know him. She need a strong number one contender at this point, because she lost her number one. Eric's done. She know Clifton is really she know Clifton is batting for Joy, but so she needs a replacement quick. So either she volunteered or she was told to take Tori out. Takes Tori out. At this point, they're having this gentle, soft convo. Someone's telling me that, okay, because between the two of them, I'm like, okay, what's going on? That she say, well, ladies discuss that it's not yet time for you to go. What? Yeah. Sometimes it's always, a bird's eye view is always easier than when you're in it yourself. But yeah, you'll tell me. I feel that was a mistake. Tori, Laverne. What were you people looking at? All right, Sabrina and Laverne. All right, Vern, as we he said in his confessional, he came in hot, and he's saying, so clearly he had been given some background information. So they've been saying that people spill the tea during their deliberations, and it gets back to the other side. This definitely got back to the other side. So he came in ready, like he knew what was up, he knew what was going on. It's middle of the season, he knows how it works, and they're coming for him. And so at first I was like, okay, between Joy and Ace, who told this guy? But then somehow in the conversation, I remember hearing him say something about Precious told me that y'all were plotting that, and he mentioned names. He said Sabrina, he said Carmen, and he said Tina were plotting to get rid of him, to break up him and Ace. Like, okay, that kind of conspiracy theory is like, it's a bit much. I don't know about them, plotting to break up him and Ace, but I do know that all of them at different times have said that Laverne didn't really appeal to them. So Carmen had hit it off with him in the beginning, but something somehow had happened in between, and they fizzled. Like after that first blind date, Laverne had with Carmen, which was touching the cheeks, nothing. It just went cold. What happened? They've been meeting behind the scenes. They've been talking on the phone. Something happened, or something didn't act right. It was done. It fizzled. They were dead. Okay, so Tina had a conversation with him an episode or 2 episodes ago, where they were at like this wine bar. It was like a group date, and she just feel like he wasn't giving her anything. He just wasn't interested. I guess she wasn't used to that. So I can see how maybe Tina just know, okay, I'm not feeling him. He's not giving me the right energy. He's not really into me like that. But then Sabrina, I really like Sabrina. Too busy. Like she's got a full scorecard. Like she's got a full board. So the Sabrina one, I don't see how she could be plotting to get rid of him, because she don't really care. She's got 3 players. Well, the third one she's not really feeling, but she's got at least 2 strong contenders. 2 strong contenders that a lot of the other ladies are interested in too, but they're interested in her. So she's got double D, and the 2 Ds are very popular with the rest of the crew. So I'm not convinced that she was a part of. If there is a conspiracy, because sometimes we think that they're just saying no. If there is a conspiracy, I don't know how much Sabrina's into it, and if she is, why? What's her payoff? Because we do things for a payoff. What is she getting from that? She got 2 of the hottest guys gunning for her. So I don't know if she's part of that conspiracy anyway. So he comes in, he's hot, he's like, yeah. So she tries to give him a hug, he gave her that. I'm like, damn, okay. All right. So I have to say this. I don't think Laverne should have been eliminated, which we know he was. But the way he handled it gave us some insight as to he need to grow. Like he's 44, he's 40-something. He has some work to do. You know how, Iana says, I did the work. He hasn't done the work. He needs to do work. And it's true, sometimes some situations will reflect and tell us that, oh, snap, I have work to do. Laverne has work to do, because it's true, rightfully so. I mean, but the thing is, when people were here, this is my theory. I believe on this planet here, as humans, we are designed at one point or another to disappoint each other. Life is how you handle it, not how it handles you. What you do with the circumstances that come towards you. You get disappointments. When they say the saying, turn lemons into lemonade. Life is not going to be perfect. Not everybody's going to like you. Things aren't going to always go the way you want. But how you handle it when it comes to you determines who you are, the grit, the essence of who you are. And shows us, just simply shows us who you are. And what Laverne showed us today, like, I still think he's cool and everything, but yeah, he got some growing to do. It didn't put him in a favorable light. It made him really look like man. Like man was having a moment. I'm sorry. Like, it was just, like, you don't get that crunk with a lady. That's just how I feel. Like, you don't get crunk like that with a lady. Like, you were disrespectful, and I did understand it. But Sabrina, she's no punk. She's like, what you're not gonna do. Sabrina came, like, she matched his energy. So there's a point where, of course there's editing, but there's a point where she, she walked off. She kind of walked away and said, what you're not gonna do is disrespect me. Like, bruh, you done. Like, she didn't say that. I'm giving you my little foot. Like, bruh, you done. It's over. You done. So you can rah if you want to, but it's over for you, sir. I don't know. But yeah, so people are talking because he came. I feel like he may have been more receptive towards it. I don't know. Maybe if he had been blindsided, he might have misbehaved. Because I feel like there's a little bit of, you are allowed to express your feelings, but yeah, there's 2 schools of thoughts where people say, yeah, we hold anger in such a low regard. Yeah, it's okay to be angry. But another part of me is like, okay, but you're angry, you can't, where's that space for respectful communication? Like, if something is too much, take a second. But I just personally don't feel like he should have come for her like that. Like, you can match that kind of energy with a gentleman, but not with a woman. Particularly, it's just, yeah, because I feel like if he were coming like that on camera, how is he when the cameras aren't rolling? Because camera is an accountability partner, somewhat. The staff and the producers standing around there filming are accountability partners. But you're coming, so it's like, if they weren't there, would you? So it's one or two. Would you either be more crunk, or would you have slunk away, like just being real passive? I don't know. Was he trying to overcompensate because he might be someone who doesn't get mad and might be considered passive, or was this even a tempered down version of how he would reacted if nobody else was there? These are the questions we're asking. These are the questions that people want to know. And these are the kind of things you want to look at when you're meeting someone. So that's why sometimes these, blindsiding someone, I'm not saying do it, but sometimes it gives you insight into who you're dealing with. Because personally, I don't say I'm looking for someone like me, because I can get mad, but there's a certain energy I'm not going to give you. I'm just like, give me a minute. Like I just don't want a guy reacting like that with me if it's because something happens that he doesn't agree with. There'll be more respect if you're just sitting there like, all right, this is not the end of the world. You're not getting like $1 million check for going to the end of the show. Even with the woman on the show, if you get eliminated and it's that serious, meet her after the show, right? Nobody's in prison, so it's like, how important is it to be that mad? That's what I'm saying. Like, it's really at the end of the day, this job was not taking food from your mouth. Like, I don't know. Like, how serious is this? Laverne, as she called him, yeah. Even though I was batting for him, I was thinking he needed to be in the bottom. The people that I feel, that's just my personal opinion. I felt like bottom two should have been Paul and should have been Tori. And yeah, I wasn't even sure which one should go home between two of them, because I was literally almost kind of done with those two, to be honest with you. But so I was also shocked at Laverne's, elimination. But it could have been a different narrative if he had played it differently. So the people who went to talk with him didn't do him a solid. They didn't do him a solid, because then people look back and like, damn, we didn't think this through. But he might be right. There might be some kind of, these games that now, as the seasons are getting, more and more seasons under the belt, people come with preordained season games. They already decide what I don't know. But guys, look like we come to the end of this episode. And next week, the ladies are meeting up with their top interest buddy. We see, first of all, I didn't see come and meet with any of Donovan's buddies. I'm just giving you a tip right now. And second of all, Phil is Phil from last season, one of Donovan's buddies. So that's what I'm saying. People come in with already preconceived game. Like they come up with game. Because even remember Simone from Last Resort is a buddy to, what's her name? What was the other season? I can't remember. The lawyer, I can't remember her name, completely escapes me, but y'all know who I'm talking about, who AJ she turned AJ down. Yeah, damn, I can't remember her name for the life of me. I can't remember. But yeah, so it's like people they're coming onto this season with game. So really, I wouldn't say like the first two seasons were like the most authentic. I'm just seeing like people coming with game, do this, do that, like nah. But anyway, guys, let's see what happens next week. But it's getting heated. Like Laverne's exit was a surprise to me. Like, because all we've been hearing, like, he's hot and cold, not like rah rah rah, like he rah 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 with Sabrina. Sabrina's like a quarter of his height. There's a certain size, discrepancy when it's there that you should respect yourself, and because you'd be considered a bully if you rah 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 with one with a woman and then two with someone who's like a tenth of your size. So how he just let it rip with her. And I'm not saying he went crazy, but he did more than he should have. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And that means, let's do this. Like, comment, subscribe. All right, Lola, over and out. Thanks for watching. Bye.